Hey folks, welcome. Here we discuss real stories by real people. Today we have the story of a man who finds out his girlfriend has been cheating on him with his close friend. Let's see how it goes. Story 1. I, 28 male, just started going out with my girlfriend, 26, a few months ago. My girlfriend and I have known each other for about a year now. We met while volunteering at some resort and became fast friends since. Eventually, I asked her out and she said yes. Our relationship has been going well, and we've been getting to know each other even more. Spending time together, going on dates whenever, etc. Recently, we decided to introduce each other to our friends and family. We felt like we had finally reached that stage of the relationship and were ready to take this step further. With that in mind, we set up dates for the meeting. Before meeting each other's families, we decided to introduce our closest friends. I had already met some of her friends before at hangouts and parties, and she had met some of mine too. But she was yet to meet my closest friend as he was away from the country for some time. Now that he was finally back, we planned a small dinner at a restaurant with our friends. I had always talked to her about him. He had been my best friend since high school and like a brother to me. So I had been wanting them to meet, get to know each other, and get along. The day of the dinner, we were all at the restaurant, but my best friend did not show up on time. He said he was busy and only came towards the end of the dinner. Because he was hungry as he hadn't had dinner yet, the three of us decided to grab a quick snack at a fast food joint nearby before calling it a night. We chill there and talk, get familiar with each other. I was glad they seemed to be getting along well enough. Before we left, my girlfriend even asked him for his socials. I didn't mind because it looked like a good sign. After dinner, we drop my girlfriend off at home, then go back to my place to chill some more. I asked him what he thought about her. He said he really liked her. She seemed like a great person and all, good for me. He also said I was lucky and even made a joke that if I wasn't his best friend, he would have snatched her up. And we laughed it off. I was happy to hear that. Weeks later, I and my girlfriend go over to meet my parents. My best friend was also there. I invited him because my parents were complaining about not seeing him in a long while and my girlfriend was also chill with it. During dinner, my girlfriend and best friend kept cutting away in hushed voices, laughing and all that. My girlfriend was sitting between the two of us and they wouldn't stop talking to each other. You'd think they were old friends. I felt left out but didn't say anything. Even my parents noticed and commented about how my girlfriend was getting along well with my friend. I just smiled and continued eating my food. After dinner, as we were driving back, my girlfriend suggested that we hang out more, go for drinks, and grab a snack. We all agreed, but again, I felt so left out all through the night. Ever since then, my girlfriend and best friend would always suggest that we hang out, go for dinners, parties, etc. We always agreed, but the more we did, the more I began to feel like a third wheel. It felt very upsetting. How could I feel like a third wheel to my girlfriend and best friend? One day when they asked, I told them that I would sit it out. I was really tired and not in the mood to third wheel another hangout. They said I was being a buzzkill, and then went out without me. I tried to pretend that all was fine, but deep down I was really bothered, so I decided to bring it up. One day, we were all together, business as usual, so I loosely commented that to see how they would react, that I felt so left out it was almost like they were the ones dating. They just laughed it off, saying I was just being silly and unnecessarily jealous. It was then that I started getting really disturbed by all that was happening. Sure, I wanted them to get along well, but not so much that I would feel like this because of it. One day, I was hanging out with my best friend at my place. He stood up to go to the restroom. While he was away, his phone started pinging continuously. It was bothering me, so I picked it up to mute it. But on the screen were multiple text notifications from my girlfriend. She was texting him to make plans to meet later that night at some nightclub. I guessed it was just another one of those hangouts, so I checked my phone too but saw no text from her inviting me too. Obviously, I got really suspicious, so I decided to find out what's up. I simply dropped the phone and pretended not to have seen anything while keeping the meetup location in mind. Later that night, I went out to the club to see what's up. On getting there, I see the two of them in a dark corner booth drinking. My girlfriend was seated on my best friend's lap, being all touchy and drinking away the night. I got so pissed. I immediately stormed over to them and began to yell. My girlfriend stumbled off his lap as they both stood up, confused at my presence. They began to try to explain, but I was too angry to listen. Instead, I just turned around and left the club. They both got kicked out due to the ruckus. After that, they both reached out to me claiming that I was overreacting and not trusting them, claiming they were just hanging out and having a little fun. She said that she didn't invite me because she knew I would have just said no, so why bother? She even tried to justify herself by saying that she was just bored and needed company but couldn't reach out to me because I've been such a bore and a grump recently. I was pissed beyond words. To be betrayed like this by not just my girlfriend but my own best friend too. I immediately broke up with her. I blocked them both and cut all ties with my best friend too. I didn't need any of them in my life anymore. Just like that, I lost both my girlfriend and best friend in one night. I'll be fine. You'll be fine, OP. You said it yourself. You don't need people like that in your life. They betrayed your trust, made you feel crazy when you complained, and they gaslighted you when you saw them acting like a couple. They're both bad people. I'm sorry you had to lose both your best friend and girlfriend at the same time. I can't start to imagine how painful it must have been, but just know that you'll get through this. Time will heal your pain, and in a few months, you won't hurt so much when you think about them and what they did. Take care, OP. Story 2. 12 years ago, for a period which lasted a couple of weeks, I felt my wife was up to something. She was hanging out with her friend a lot and just acting shady. About 6 months ago, I was having a casual conversation with the husband of my wife's friend. He then mentioned a guy and implied my wife had sex with him during that 2-week period 12 years ago. It took some interrogating to get answers, but eventually my wife admitted she cheated with this guy. Cheating's bad enough, but the details are worse. The guy is known to get around. He had a wife and newborn baby at home. The guy also didn't pursue my wife. She aggressively pursued him. She also knew the guy didn't want anything to do with her and just had sex with her because she basically served herself up. My wife swears this is the only time she ever cheated. The problem is, the details are so twisted, there's no way a woman capable of doing this only cheated once. I also got no explanation at all. Actually, I take that back. Pretty sure her explanation was, it's like I wasn't myself. She wasn't very good at all for years. Moody, constantly degrading me, constantly accusing me of cheating, which is why this cuts much deeper. However, the last 5 years prior to my finding out the truth, she's been a much better wife. But now every little thing is a trigger. If this wasn't so hypocritical, it also wouldn't be nearly as bad. She didn't just accuse me of cheating. She constantly dug for info and occasionally found some person I don't know who was willing to tell her they knew someone I had cheated with. Of course, that person had no name either. To be honest, on a different level, I could somewhat understand had this guy sweet-talked his way into her pants. However, my wife straight up admits she aggressively pursued him, and that she knew the guy didn't have any interest in her other than she was easy. I've tried working it out, but everything seems to trigger memories that cause me to lash out on her. Times she denied me sex. Times she trash-talked other women for doing the same thing she did. Even worse is the time she treated me badly and accused me of cheating when I wasn't. I love her, but I have lost every last drop of respect I have for her. She absolutely repulses me. We have a home and kids and built a life together. However, in my mind, this woman now deserves nothing from me. What the heck can I do here? Worst of all, she doesn't seem to have any real genuine remorse. OP, I would advise you to go for marriage counseling with her if you have a little ounce of desire to salvage the marriage. If you don't, file for divorce and be done with her. Your kids will be fine. It'll be better for them to live in two separate homes than a broken one. She threw away the life you two built together when she decided to be selfish and cheat on you with someone she doesn't even have an emotional connection to. She just did it for the sexual thrill. She didn't consider how you must have felt or anything. Then she lied about it for years, and yet she isn't trying to make it up to you or anything after you found out. Any decision you make from here too should be solely based on how you feel. Don't force anything on yourself. Take care, OP. Now for some comments. I know the general sentiment around these parts is that your only real choice is to leave. And you are clearly very upset about this, as you have every right to be. But many relationships do go through hard times like these, and people find a way to work through it. It would take a lot of time and work, but this marriage may still be worth saving. Counseling for both of you and maybe for yourself alone could do a lot of good and help you deal with this. You can try marriage counseling and see if that would help you mend what was broken. But from the way you've spoken about her, it seems like you're already on a fast track for divorce, which wouldn't be the worst thing, especially if she repulses you and shows no remorse for her infidelity. There's also no way this was the only time. I think if she had told you or come clean at some point, you could work through it. But she hid it from you and lied for so long. I don't know how you'd be able to respect her again. If she doesn't have any remorse, you've only seen the tip of the shit iceberg. But maybe before divorce, you should try counseling and see if it helps at all. If she can't explain it and doesn't want to talk about it, I think there's reasonable chance this wasn't the only time. What I'm sensing from is, cheating aside, she hasn't been a good wife to you. It's easy to overlook poor treatment from a partner because a lot of us don't have an easy point of comparison. And we then become boiled frogs, where we become accustomed to constant poor treatment. The cheating has made you realize what kind of marriage you have been in and what kind of person your wife is. I don't think she's ever respected you, and now you don't respect her. That is the death knell for any marriage. In your place, I would do some individual counseling and then initiate separation.